What's going on, everyone? It is finally time to talk about the first results from Secrets of Power. Who is making a splash? What cards are we seeing? It has been a lot of excitement over the weekend here. We have the battle going on. Pretty fun to watch. Lots of high-level gameplay. But more importantly, we're here to talk about the leaders and cards from Set 6 that are actually doing some work. I'll leave a link to this site down below. The Star Wars Unlimited little database here that really combines all the tournaments. There's also the Star Wars Unlimited Competitive Hub, but this does a little bit of a easier job, at least, to really see the leaders and the card stats of the current meta. And so far, it's been pretty interesting. A big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It's been an absolute blast talking about the early Set 6 meta with you all and seeing what you all come up with. But for the first time, we get to talk about two new leaders. Padme and SABE are the two most played Set 6 leaders. If you look at this list, Daedra has a few, not Kazuda here, but Cassian. Chancellor Palpatine also showed up a little bit. We had Mon Mothma show up a little bit. But honestly, these are kind of like just a few different options that people were showing up just to try, right? And then we had a top 8 showing of, well, no Set 6 leaders. In the top 64, we did see a little bit of Padme, and we also did see a little bit of SABE, so they actually are performing reasonably well. Now, I think a lot of people were not surprised, if you've been playing in the Set 6 meta, to see Padme show up. Now, this is day 2. There's 2 tournaments. There's the pool 1, or rather, there's the 2-day tournament of Battle. There's the pool 1 and pool 2. This one combines the both of them. So this is all the decks, right, across both days. And you could see that Padme actually is sitting at close to a 50% win rate. So it didn't do like incredible, but that's because we had some decks that were absolutely disgusting. Like take, for example, the Hans. We have 3 Hans here, Han 1, Han 2, and Han 4. Han 4 did some good work as well with some new additions, but really the key winners are Han 1, Han 2, and Quinlan. Those 3 did absolutely fantastic, as well as SABE with a 62% win rate and Kira with a 60% win rate. And probably the most impressive, most improved of them all, Anakin. Anakin Green did some work. Absolutely crazy amount of work in terms of what we were able to see. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but it's really not surprised to see Padme up there. And honestly, SABE, while she has been not like incredible, the overall strategy of cunning, aggression, or double cunning in the heroism category has always been pretty good. And this one just allows you to interact with your opponent a good amount. And so it's been pretty solid. Now, honestly, we could sit here and talk about all the leader and base combinations. We saw a lot of Padme Tarkin Town, as you can see. We saw a lot of data vaults and green bases. Like Han 1 green was a very, very common one. But I think it's more interesting to look at the actual cards that were played and some of the new ones. And there are really 2 key new ones from the new set, and you can see it right at the top. Karis Nemik and Sudden Ferocity. The problem with a lot of these decks that we're seeing is that they also got Sudden Ferocity and Karis Nemik added to their pool. If we take a look at like some of these top tier decks, like for example, Quinlan, he got Sudden Ferocity and Karis, and they're absolutely fantastic. Han Red, well, it got Sudden Ferocity. Absolutely incredible new addition. And these cards are fantastic. Karis specifically is probably just the best 2 resource play we have in the game because it fits within that strategy so well, giving you a 3/2 on turn 1 that also can't be attacked immediately, while giving you an immediately ready to body afterwards. It just interacts so well with some of the cards here that were so dominant, like Power of the Dark Side, early removal, or just units that were trading with it pretty early. Even something like Yaddle or Adi Gallia or Gunji and things like that you normally would be like, 2 toughness kind of sucks. Well, you get that secondary unit out of it, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. And then Sudden Ferocity giving you an additional way to potentially give you some additional power on your leader flip is just incredible. Outside of those cards, as I start to scroll down, you can see there is not really anyone that has come particularly close. However, we did see a good amount of Faith in Your Friends being played, and you can actually see which decks this was being played in. It was mainly Padme and SABE, as you can see here. There's also some Han double yellows being played with this deck, or with this card, but mainly the double yellow Sabes, the Padme reds, the SABE reds, etc. You were really seeing that with Faith in Your Friends. probably because people are playing the new sets, so they're trying out the new cards, especially with Padme. It makes a lot of sense because you can disclose, but it wasn't really incorporated into some like the more traditional options that we were seeing out in the open. We also had Captain Typho, which has been an absolutely amazing new addition, especially for the Anakin decks. And this, coupled with Mina Bonteri, is one of the reasons why Anakin, and in some cases Han Green, they've added some of those cards as well to their list, and it's been absolutely fantastic, like absolutely incredible to see these cards truly shine. In terms of as we start to go deeper and deeper, we've got Jar Jar as options, we've got Imperial Dark Trooper as another turn run play, A-Wing, which is coming out in the Han 4 lists, Queen Amidala and Aggressive Negotiations, Queen Amidala mainly in all those green heroism lists, but Anakin Green is a particularly good standout for Queen Amidala. You can see if we click on the little deck count, we're seeing it in Anakin, we're seeing it in Han 2s, we're seeing it in Yoda's lists, we're seeing it in basically all the new additions. Rey is another one that we're seeing it in. Basically any heroism command deck that's looking to play that mid-range style, Queen Amidala just fit absolutely perfectly. Aggressive Negotiations, we've seen this do some work. I think the most interesting one is Yoda. Yoda Tarkintown actually did some really awesome things as well. Just kind of revolving around drawing a bunch of cards, getting value out of Rey, and Aggressive Negotiations. The combination of the two has just been incredible, absolutely incredible, and Yoda has really not disappointed. But that's pretty much it. Yes, as we get deeper, we get Captain Rex, Bail, Warrior of Clan Ordo, Gonk Power Droid. Yes, there's some additional options, Cinta, Fulminatrix. That's just because people are really trying out some cards. The standouts to me definitely show up here. Sudden Ferocity, Karis Nemik, and we also have things like, Captain Typho, Mina Bonteri doing some work, and Faith in Your Friends also performing pretty well. So this is just the beginning. This honestly did have kind of that little bit of a twist where we had a bunch of random meme decks show up. This full breakdown of the 218 decks, you could see people are playing like, random Padme, original Padme. We saw like Sabine yellows and Kazuda yellows and double red Kylos and a bunch of like random lists. Wat Tambor blue show up. We saw Grand Admiral Thrawn yellow, and it was just a smattering. I mean, we had Darth Revan blue for crying out loud. I mean, this is some weird list for sure. Very weird decks showing up and just trying them out. But there have definitely been some clear winners, and it really has been shown from the win rate. If I were to kind of pull the highest win rates without, going into like some of the just one-ofs, right? The one-of decks, the clear winners, as I mentioned earlier, we had Han Green, Han in just 2 in general, but Han Green 2 specifically. We had Han Yellow as a returning one. There's the Han 2 Green, as I said, with a 60% win rate. We had a 70% win rate with, Sabine, which was pretty interesting. This was Sabine Yellow. We had Mother Talzin and Yoda Red, both performing very excellently. And Anakin Green, probably with the most impressive win rate of them all, 85%. This one went all the way to the finals, and I think took the W here in terms of actually, I think it was Han Green that actually took the W, but it definitely made it to top 4 in some of these matches. It was an absolute blast to see this deck. And realistically, I mean, we're going to see all sorts of crazy things happening. If we just pull up the total matches here so far, you can definitely see, and I just pulled the win percentage, Han Green 61%. This is Sparkle Rebellion version. Han Green, Han 2 specifically. Green 61%. Han Yellow 60%. I mean, some of these decks just absolutely crushing it. And you can see Anakin down here with a 90% win rate across the board with the Anakin Data Vault that was showing up. I mean, it was just doing some work. There's so many new additions that fit that deck so well, and it's been impressive to see. This is by far my pick for the most improved one so far, most improved list, at least in its showing. But there is some hope for some lists from set 6. There's definitely some powerhouse cards, not for the reasons you would normally think, where it's just like that card individually is just doing some work, but the pairing of that card with either the deck style or the ability of certain leaders pairs so well that it's a powerhouse card. Take, for example, Charismatic. This is just a card that's just straight up good. But then if you compare that to a card like Sudden Ferocity, where in most cases a 3 resource upgrade that's +3/+0 with plot is like whatever. But the fact that it does have plot, and the fact that you're playing like Quinlan and you want to get some extra damage in, you can make a 6/7 leader when you need to. That's what truly makes the power of Sudden Ferocity. And the same thing applies to a lot of other cards, like Mina Bonteri. Yeah, Mina Bonteri is a 2/4 for 2 that restores 1, and it draws you a card when it's defeated. But then you pair that with like Anakin, and now you can play Anakin Green, get access to restore, and potentially refill your hand, and have a 4-powered unit to trade with other units. And you kind of want to, because, well, you've got access to restoring and the when defeated ability. Great. That's kind of the shift that's happened. So not as big of an impact as set 5 so far, but there are certainly cards here that are exciting. Very, very different look of the meta than we saw in set 5. If you remember, it was a lot of blue cards, a lot of vigilance cards, and a lot of force cards, and we are seeing significantly less of those cards now. And so set 6 may not have had a direct impact in terms of, yeah, these cards are just fantastic. But what's happened is, with the Force Throw ban at the end of set 5 and the addition of some really powerful aggro cards and some cards that just really fit well, the meta has very much shifted towards a more heroism mid-range style, and also decks that are leaning a little bit more aggressive and Tarkin Town-esque. So that's pretty interesting to see. Now, I cannot wait to see more, because this is really, really just a very beginning showcase of set 6. We only had 1 tournament, and it was in some cases a little bit more casual of the more competitive tournaments, but it'll be exciting to see where this shows up or what turns out in the future. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. How have you seen set 6 perform? What has been pretty strong for you all? And have you enjoyed it? Has it been fun? I've had an absolute blast. I think this set is actually just more fun so far than a lot of the other sets that we've seen, because of the, being able to play cards from your resource pile as soon as you deploy a leader. So like making a bunch of actions at the same time, or disclosing things, just having a lot of things to do and interact with. Not just like interact with your opponent or the board or anything like that, but just interact with the game itself. Like, I'm disclosing a card, I'm interacting with my hand, I have to plan this out, I have to plan for this, I can play more things on my resource or my leader deploy. All of that stuff is more conducive to having a lot of fun. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you off the next one.